Guys, how are you today? I hope you're keeping safe. Today, I decided to share with you another personal story that happened to my father a couple of years ago. Him being my father, I never doubted the story he told me, as I never thought of a reason why would he lie to me. But let me tell you, the story kept me up at night for many days, even weeks, and the only thing I regretted is only the fact that I wasn't there to witness it with my own eyes. Before I jump on the story, I just want to remind you, subscribe to my channel with the bells because you really wouldn't want to miss any of my future videos, and I have a lot of terrifying stories in my sleeve for you. Right, now let's get to the story. Years ago, my father had to attend a funeral to a friend of him, and it was actually a tragic death as the person was pretty young, somewhere in his late 30s. My father said that the brother of his friend completely lost it and was extremely distressed and crushed, and for that reason he got himself pretty drunk from the early hours of the morning. My father said that the funeral was actually very sad and everyone couldn't even calm themselves. So, all of the people attending the funeral couldn't face the fact that the boy is gone. They buried him pretty quickly. Little that anyone knew though was the fact that the brother of the boy had done something horrible a few hours prior to the funeral, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So the funeral passed and everyone goes to the house of my father's friend to share some drinks and food and share some stories about his life. I have a side note. This is something actually that is tradition in Bulgaria. Usually when someone dies, the closest people to the deceased gather together and will get some drinks in the name of the person and will memorize him with their personal stories about what kind of person he was and so forth. But I think that this is pretty much the same everywhere, but I'm not really sure, so I just want to mention that. Anyway, so they gathered all together and start sharing stories how nice the boy was and all that, when all of a sudden, a few hours later, someone knocked on the door. And let me tell you something, what my dad told me next made my hair stood on end. He told me that his friend that they just buried a few hours ago was standing on the door with expressionless face and deepened eyes and was looking straight at my dad. My father said that he didn't look anything like a ghost, like the one depicted in the movies, transparent, floating and all that. My father said that he was standing there in flesh and bone and was dressed in the suit he was buried a few hours earlier. So soon everyone noticed him and the music stopped and no one couldn't believe their eyes. My father said that the brother of the boy, being so drunk, when witnessed him standing there, threw himself to hug him as he thought that, this is some sort of a miracle and his brother probably woke up from the dead. However, he didn't receive the reaction he was expecting. In fact, to the shock of everyone in there, the boy grabbed his brother and threw him with such force in the direction of the windows that were located in the living room that he broke the windows along with the frames and found himself lying in the garden in a total disbelief. Seconds later, the friend of my dad would just leave the house without saying a word. My dad told me that on the next day he found out that the entire village who was aware of my dad's friend's death, as it was a small village, and everyone knew everyone, was tormented by him. He would knock on pretty much every single door on his way and will scream that he was robbed. He would do that almost the entire night until he reaches the house of his own grandmother. She would tell my dad that they had a chat and she asked him why he can't find peace and why he's back. He would tell her that he was robbed and the one who robbed him was actually his own brother. Of course, she asked him what was stolen from him, but he would be unable to say. The only thing he knew was that his brother robbed him. Look, I know, everything sounds crazy, but you must have seen my father when he was telling me the story originally. There was no way he was lying. He told the story to my mom and grandma as well, and we all looked at him stunned. So I kind of believe him. So anyway, the grandmother of the boy goes on to find the brother and tell him to return whatever he stole, as everything happening is on him now. So apparently, the brother has taken the cloth that is used to tidy up the chin of the boy. In Bulgaria, in some circumstances, depending on what is the cause of death, when someone dies, their chin might drop down. And this could be really disturbing scene, especially if the funeral is with open casket. For that reason, sometimes they would use, cloth, and they would just tidy like the head, so the chin is staying intact. So he take this cloth to keep it like a souvenir from his brother. He would say that he was very drunk and he didn't think this straight. So after his grandmother gave him a good shout, he goes to return this cloth and leave it on the cross, on the cross that is on the grave. And since then, as long as my dad is aware, no one ever saw him again. Look, I want to say something. I know this sounds shocking and even ridiculous, but in defense of my father, I would say that I asked the brother who actually stole the cloth, and he confirmed that this is all real, and this is what happened. So I don't know. It's crazy. And I never told this story to many people again, because I know it sounds completely mind-blowing, but I decided, why not just share it with you guys. I know I want to get more personal, and that's why maybe once a month I will be sharing one personal story. I'm telling you, I have a lot of stories that I can share with you. So let's go back to the story. So to this day, my father still swear that this actually happened, and he saw his dead friend walking around and throwing people from windows few hours after his own funeral. Honestly, the first time he told me the story, I really didn't want anything more but to be there and see it with my own eyes. As you know, I'm so intrigued about anything supernatural, but that story actually tormented my nightmares for days, even weeks. And maybe it's better I wasn't there, I don't know, but I still kind of wish I was, because it just sounds amazing. Can you imagine to go to a funeral to someone who you know very well, and then you bury this person, you're mourning him, you're crying, everyone is super disturbing, and all of a sudden you see him on the door, like knocking on the door and standing there in flesh and bones, like how you would react. I don't know, just let me know how you would react if something like this happened to you. That's why I so much want to be there. I just wanted to witness this with my own eyes. But anyway, this is for today, guys. Please let me know down in the comments, what do you think about today's story? You know what? You would make me the happiest person in the world, actually, if you share with me down in the comments. Have you ever had similar experience? Or do you know about anyone who had one? So just before I go, you know the drill. Smash this subscribe button and hit the bell so every time I upload new video, you would get notified. I'll see you next time. Bye!